Thank you for tuning in to My Why podcast today. This is the podcast where we fuel passions, share journeys, and inspire dreams. Today, we're talking to Adam Ford, also known as Sun Brave. Adam is a multi-disciplinary artist whose creativity spans both audio and visual production. He's a writer, a storyteller, and someone who constantly pushes the limits of expression, never confined to just one form of creativity. Outside of his artist work, you'll find him on the move, literally, as he's a dedicated runner and a 3-time marathon finisher. I can't wait to dive into this conversation. I appreciate you being on the show today. I'm just excited to have this conversation. So I'm just gonna kick it off with our first question. So we can see by the introduction that you don't stay in one lane. Like you're a person that likes to be out of the box and create creatively. And you know what gives you the courage to just explore so many avenues?
Well, first off, thank you so much for that introduction. It was really detailed. And, sometimes I think, we don't step outside of ourselves to look at things like that. We're just so consumed with getting it done, like that's a lot. When I hear it just back to me, it's like, wow, you've kind of done a lot there. But yeah, I mean, where where I've always just been creative. I guess God, because like this is something that's always inside of me. Like I just express it however I feel. I used to draw a lot when I was younger, you know,
Mm.
um, and my brother and my father draw. So like, and my sister, like she designed, my mother is creative, like my family's creative. So um, I think that just being creative, I feel like is a natural extension of who I am, and that's the most high created. But
No,
yeah, no, yeah, just go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was saying that was interesting to hear that you pretty much have come from a line of creatives. That's actually pretty interesting. That's a fun fact. So that's I've never heard. A lot of people you don't realize that the background of someone like where their background may come from, and just like it seems like it just runs in your blood though for you.
Well, yeah, and really it's my brother, I would say, who really got me into my greatest love, which is music. And he was a DJ, and I always just heard music around the house, so just having that influence growing up, especially because like I came up in the 90s, so like I was a 90s kid. Even though I was born 89, I was in the 90s, so it's like that. My older brother was like the epitome of what I thought was cool. So like hip hop, like that's of course I'm gonna gravitate towards that, you know. So I think when you have positive influences in your life like that, that impacts you growing up.
Yeah, and like speaking of music, so your artist name is Sun Brave. Like, what was the inspiration behind that name? And I know you had like previous names, but your current artist name is Sun Brave. But you can kind of give the background of like where did that inspiration come from to
Where
come up?
well, again, I am a 90s kid, and one of my first memories is of Wu-Tang. So like I'm a big Wu-Tang fan. So I've always believed in like having like a alias or just assuming uh this persona in a way when you're on the microphone, because at the end of the day it still is an extension of myself, so I'm not trying to make it seem like it's something that's not me, but
Right.
it's something that it's just a different way to express myself. And Sun Brave in particular, it takes a lot of different influences because, well, for one, I was born on a Sunday, and Sun Brave is Dragon Ball Z is another one of my influences. So like the Son Goku is that's the name of his family. Is Sun. It's the Sun family. So it's like Son
Yeah.
Gohan, Son Goten. Like so like that's another influence. And then like it like I always took a Sun type of alias. So like I was well, my first rap name was Big A, but
Mm.
like when I really started, I was Sun Tzu, and that was when I was like 16, and I joined BMI as an independent, publisher and all that. So I've always like been in control of who I wanted to be, and I never wanted to sacrifice that my creative expression, and that's where the bravery comes from, and that's why I was like when I reached the crossroad in 2020. I think a lot of people reached that crossroad where they had to examine themselves in a lot of their lives, what was going on, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I had I had a lot of cognitive dissonance that I was suffering
Mm-hmm.
from, and that was because we know each other from Morgan, and
Yeah.
at the time before like the world shut down, I was actually studying abroad in South Africa, and my
Mm-hmm.
capstone project was specifically to find a link between like the Zulu and hip hop and like the actual Zulu people, and
Yeah.
I think like the things that I found out and I discovered, they they led me to deepen in my own path and discovering who I was and my family, because
Mm.
that was a path I was already on, and the signs were just pointing to that. So that's also why I felt like shedding a lot of those titles that I had built up to that point was brave. And even though like I've received like, because whenever you build something up and you feel like you've reached a natural conclusion of it and you want to move on to something else, it's like people have already, you've defined yourself in that way. So it's like people try to keep you in that box. But I guess that's my creativity as an artist, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because a lot of times, like but you also have to be cognitive enough to know when there's an ending of something, right? When it's time to like make a new beginning of something as well. So just being able to pay attention to yourself, being able to pay attention to that moment where it's like, oh, this is over, like this part of it's over, and what now you get to discover a new aspect of yourself, especially as
Or
one, we're growing up, or you get new experiences, or you're traveling abroad, you're seeing different things, you're opening your horizons, so that just only makes sense. And then I think it does play a part too as you as a storyteller, right? So like what type of themes or like stories do you desire to tell, or like that you like that you want the world to know, like in each one of your avenues of what you use your creativity, there's always usually like something you want the world to know, like what is your desire in terms of like your storytelling?
uh well, at the end of the day, I just want to communicate the common truth that people share. Like the one thing, like, and I'm always gonna relate it back to music, because
Hmm.
music is one of my greatest like loves when it comes to like my medium, and like it's just that truth. So like, I gotta put it like, and it's the thing that I love about hip hop is what separates hip hop from other musical genres. The hip rap music itself is the fact that you as an MC write your own rhymes,
Hmm.
and you're telling not just your story, but you're telling your community's story, right? That you're telling different people's stories that may not have the opportunity or ability to express themselves. And I think that's my calling in life.
Hmm.
And that's where it doesn't matter where that's, and I had to learn that, and Morgan helped me learn that, to being able to step outside of just music and use different things like like creating a documentary, or even just in a short, like a YouTube short, or a TikTok video, something like that, just being able to do that. So like I credit a lot of those influences to being who I am as an artist,
Yeah.
and getting that across, telling people stories. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I meant to mention this in the morning, in the beginning of the podcast, but we did go to Morgan together. We did graduate together, so we
Yeah,
know each other
yeah,
very well
yeah,
in that way. So when you hear him referring back, it's because we went to school together. So we all were learning at the same time. So like, so with that, I did mention about you being a runner, right? So like
yeah.
that, I want to tell you that I have to admit that is very admirable, like
Well, thank
that
you,
when people do, yeah, like that people do, like because it takes so much discipline, and it takes so much like you have to be disciplined, and you have to be very sure that's something you want to do, because that is not something to take lightly, to the extent how many miles you run, and how you when you do marathons and things as such, and a lot of people don't have that discipline to do so. So it's very admirable. Like I trust me,
thank
I
you.
when I see that. So like when did you get into it? When did you find a love for it? Like what is the whole background of that?
Well,
Of running?
you know, I've always played sports growing up. I did play
Mhm.
baseball. I also my thing is like when I got to high school, that's when I started gravitating more towards music. So like
Mhm.
even like I tried out for the football team, but like literally the first day, like because it was two a day, so it was like like the break in between. I went across because there was a Target across from my school, and I went and I sat down and I was like I'm not doing this, and I got a microphone that was in there. Like I had been thinking about it for a while, and I bought the microphone and just left. And I went home and like
Yeah.
I just focused on making music. And like music has always been like that driving force to me in a way. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
just I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. So yeah,
yeah,
because I was just saying about your running, like what
yeah.
did you
Oh,
into
okay,
that? Yeah, you're good.
yeah. So really, I would say and I did play lacrosse. I did play lacrosse my senior year of high school, but it was really the pandemic, honestly. Like so 2019 into 2020, I had already started like run like just to get my fitness back up,
Mhm.
and I was in the gym and everything, and I just hadn't found like the right sort of routine. But there was a running organization, and really it was from working on this project called This Is My Baltimore. So I was working on This Is My Baltimore, which
Oh
it was a
yeah.
Morgan project, and it was really the School of Global Journalism and Communication in partnership with the Baltimore Sun, and they got us as students. So it was me, Rashad, Grace, and Justice, and we were
Yeah.
like this core team over the summer, and we worked on profiling different people throughout Baltimore, and really that we when we profiled the Black Runner organization, even though it didn't make the final cut,
Mhm.
like I was like, oh, I want to be down with this because like I've been running, and like they have a consistent schedule, and like like it just running with them really helped build my discipline, and
Nice.
I took that when I eventually came here to New York, and I started coaching track and field, and it was a lot of those the discipline, the tenets that I learned from the Black Runner organization that helped me and have helped me as a coach and as a runner. So
Mhm.
shout out to Issa, his organization. He's also a Morgan alum. So go
Right.
Bears,
Right,
go
right,
Bears.
right, supporting alum. Like,
Yeah.
so even with that, like, so what was your first accomplishment in it? Like, when you started getting back into like, what was that first thing that you did that was like, okay, like this, you felt really accomplished after it?
Uh, well, I always knew that like I could run like races because even back in like 2014 I ran in a 5K, and
Nice.
I was like I did I had pretty good times, but I never really took long distance running seriously until the Black Run organization. Like even in high school with track and field, I would be like well the cross country runners I was like
Yeah.
I don't really want to run that much, but
Yeah.
it it's something about when you're running like and you start seeing results and progress and
Mm,
and your stamina build and really it's a science to running that you learn, and you learn about yourself and your body. So when I was running with bro, they offered me the opportunity to run in the Chicago Marathon, and
nice.
so running in that training for that marathon, that was the summer of 2022, training for that marathon
So how
and
was it? How
running
was
it.
the training like? Like just when you're training for it?
Well, my journey with marathon running is complicated. I don't want to like take too much time up with it.
No,
i'm
you're
gonna
fine. You're
just
fine. You're
i'm
fine.
gonna just say that I had an idea of a
Hmm.
time, and the reality didn't match the training, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
okay,
Yeah.
because a lot of things happen. Anything can happen on race day. Like you can be prepared as much as you are, but like it's so many different variables to it. So it's
Yeah.
like but I will say I had the fortitude from that training to finish my marathon,
Hmm.
and I've taken that along with me with the progress, the leaps and bounds that I've had, and I really just enjoy running. So like I'm
Yeah.
not even like necessarily try. I just want to like just keep improving every day, and I see my improvements. And this year, hopefully I'll get that time that I've been chasing, you know.
Yeah.
But just like you said, just finishing is an accomplishment in and of itself. So like this year was the first year where I added like serious strength training into my
Mhm.
routine. I had like a plan that I studied from uh people who've been in the sport for a long time, and we'll see what happens in 2 weeks, because I'm coming back to run the Baltimore Marathon. So
Nice,
yeah.
nice. So with the discipline that like say you've learned with doing running, but then also obviously you do one thing one way usually translates into different parts of your life. So like, how does that translate into your creative journey? Like, how does that shift it? Maybe how you do music or how you do anything else that you are creating. Like, how did that discipline kind of bleed into that area of your life?
Word, yeah. I do think that I've always been disciplined, but
Mhm.
as you get older, sometimes you're like, yeah, like I don't live with regrets. Let me not say I don't live with regrets, but
Yeah,
my work ethic now compared to even when I was like a teenager, like it's just so much more.
yeah.
But at the same time, like I understand the importance of rest even more now. So it's
Mhm.
complicated. It's like it's a double-edged sword. But
Yeah.
I will say that now I have like the structure, and I know that I don't have to do everything at once. Like as long as I lay one brick a day
Mhm.
and lay it as perfectly as possible. And I really got this from like Will Smith when he was talking about like his father
Yeah.
growing up in Philadelphia. Like his father had him and his brother built like a brick wall for their house, and like he learned the value of because he didn't see the vision in the beginning, but like just putting the steps in,
Yeah.
allow him to develop the discipline to accomplish great things. And that's what I've learned really from running that I apply to all of my creative endeavors now, because I see more success when I apply for like grants and even just completing a project. It's like I'm just more disciplined now than I've probably ever been in my life. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's better late than never. You know what I mean? So, but then also too, okay, I know you're a Baltimore native. What you doing in New York? What's going on? What you in New York for? What's going like how's living in New York? How's all that? How's all that jazz?
Well, yeah. That's been a journey in and of itself. I've always wanted to be here, and
Yeah.
really, again, the pandemic kind of offered that the opportunity, because I was working at a school called St. Elizabeth, and I was saving up to come to New York, but the opportunity just it opened up. And I hate to say opportunity because it's a complicated situation,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I came up here, and right now I'm working with an organization. It's called Friends of the Children. So I'm a professional mentor, and
Nice.
yeah, I think it's really rewarding to work with these kids out here in areas that really do remind me of Baltimore, like like in the Harlem and the Bronx and things like that. Like I understand what they go through, and it's important to be a positive male role model in a lot of these kids' lives. So I feel
Mhm.
like in the time that I've been able, because when I first came up here, I was doing a lot of things. I was teaching filmmaking at LIU over the summer. I was coaching track and field. Like it was a lot of different things, but I think that this has so far been one of my more rewarding roles, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Yeah, my Baltimore a little bit.
It's
You
fine.
feel me?
That's fine. No, but with that, like, with you mentoring and stuff, like what advice would you give someone who like wants to explore like all like just take the chance to explore all of their passions and like even though they may feel stuck, because a lot of people get stuck, right? A lot of people get into a moment where they're just like, because in the era that we grew up in, we were always it almost seemed like you can only do one thing well, and then that's the thing you need to focus on. But I think the world we live in now, you could do 50 things if you want to,
Yeah.
because it's just the world's really your oyster. You can figure out what you want to do. So like what advice would you give somebody who may feel stuck or feel like they can't really go outside the box, or they just but they also know that there's so many avenues within themselves they want to pursue.
Well, if you are feeling stuck, I would say first you need to take a step back and remember, like, at the end of the day, we're human. So, like, you have to reconnect with your humanity, and that may mean putting whatever it is that you are. so passionate about, just like giving it a break and exploring other things, just to broaden your palette, and not be so hyper focused on one thing, which is like Jizza from the Wu-Tang. He was like, diversify your bonds on the Chappelle show. He's like, diversify your
Mhm.
bonds. You know what I mean? Like that's what you got
Yeah.
to do. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. I'm sorry, the Ravens just really just.
You're good. You're
I'm
good. No, I
sorry.
just you on a
It's
football
just.
Sunday. Look, I appreciate you talking to me right
Oh
now
my
because I know
god.
I got you. It's okay. Ravens is hurting his heart right now. It's okay though.
Missed
You're
field goal, but
fine.
yeah, yeah, just yeah, step back. Reconnect with your humanity. And then like when you do come back to your passion, which you're so dedicated to, like you'll feel energized and you'll have new ideas. Even you'll have a new sense of purpose, even. And that's what I've had to do several times throughout my life. And I at first, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, all right, when I was the Black Sun, I
Mhm.
had a lot of people who were upset with me when I changed my name, because the way I did it, I was being creative the way I did it.
Yeah.
Because if you read the press release, you were like, oh, this is not like a serious press release, but people only saw, oh, the Black Sun is dead, and they thought I actually died. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So like I had people hitting my phone.
wow.
Yeah, media, like they were hitting, like it was it was a serious thing, and like they just didn't understand like my creative vision at the time,
Yeah.
because I was really trying to step away from the things that we were doing for many
Yeah.
different reasons. And
Yeah.
you know uh it, and it's funny because it's like I wasn't the first person, and that's a long story.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like I'm holding anything negative in, like, about anybody who was involved, like, with that or anything like that, but it's like, you know um sometimes
You
as
just
an
had to you
artist
just gotta make a pivot.
we have to destroy and rebuild. That's what you have
Mhm.
to do. And nowadays I don't have any shame. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's why when I was having that cognitive dissonance, I was like, oh, I was Sun Zulu. I can't be that. You know what I mean? I can't in right conscious like have the Zulu name, when even outside of the link or not, it's too many questionable things that happen with the Zulu
Yeah.
nation, and people know, and people that I looked up to, and they weren't saying anything, or if they were saying anything, it's like they were blinded by the idolization of said figure, that they didn't. It's like a Diddy situation. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like so many people were like being quiet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
and I think that we're in a time where it's like, no, you can't be quiet anymore. Like you can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's been too much damage to actual people's lives. But you're saying that you're about peace, love, unity, and all this other stuff.
You just want to stand on what you stand on, right? Like a lot of
Right.
people talk about what they stand on, they don't really stand on it. But you're like, no, I really talk about what I stand on, and I'm really gonna stand on what I stand on.
And that's
So
what I try to reflect
that's
in
what it
my
is.
art and my storytelling, all that. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So
So
this podcast is called My Why for a reason. So like it's to ask you like each guest like what is your why and why do you continue to go down this journey when you can decide to stop or you can decide to do anything really. But what is your why?
uh well, again, I think a big part of my calling is telling people stories.
Mhm.
And a large part of I'm related to my running, because in running, a huge part of running is like your why too as well. So
Yes.
one of my huge whys in running is my nephew. His name's Anthony, and it's going on it's been about 6 years now where he's been in jail, and it's
Oh.
because his daughter passed away.
Mhm.
And there it's so much around that situation that is
Yeah.
just like, it's a lot. And the truth is slowly started to come out. The truth has always been known, but it's really, the law is more concerned with convictions. They're not concerned with like with the justice. They're not, and it's
Yeah.
ironic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a large part of why I run is because he's appealing. his case, of course, but like a large part of why I run is because of my nephew and his daughter. You know, rest in peace, Braylon, because she didn't get a fair shot at life,
Wow.
and it's really more so a reflection of the medical system, and
Yeah.
nobody wants to talk about it, and it doesn't happen until after the fact, and then the people get slaps on the wrist
Yeah.
for messing up entire families. You know what I mean? They mess up entire families and they get slaps on the wrist and oh, you can't practice medicine anymore or whatever. You know what I mean? And but
Yeah. Yeah.
think about people's lives who've been ruined, changed forever. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Right.
that's why I do what I do, and I don't apologize for it because people want you to
Right.
tiptoe and not. No, like that's we have to fight the good fight because they can't speak for themselves.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Right. No, that makes sense. So I have a new segment that I did this season. So it's called Questions That Need Answers.
All
So it's a
right.
little game. So I'm gonna name off, I think it's four categories to choose from, and then you pick a number through 1 through 5, okay?
All
So I'm
right.
gonna go through the category names first, and you pick it, and you pick a number 1 through 5. So the first category is creativity and process. Second category is ideas and imagination. Third category is philosophical and reflective. And fourth category is playful and unexpected.
Okay. So just choose one of those. The imaginative. That one.
Oh, and then I pick a number through 1 through 5.
4.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What's one idea you regret not pursuing?
Uh I have to say, I try not to live with regrets. Uh what is an idea? Honestly, I can't say because like the ones that I do feel in the moment maybe that I might like it always comes out later that oh that wasn't the path for me or
Hmm.
such and such. So like maybe you could say that about changing the black sun, but like I don't cuz like that's what made me who I am now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yeah, no, I can't really sorry.
Well, hey, that's an answer to the question. Questions that need answers. So that's
Yeah.
an answer. You have no regrets. So that's your answer. You have no
Yeah,
regrets.
try
So
not to live regrets, yeah.
yeah, you try not to live with regrets. So that's a good thing though. So the last segment I have that I always do for each guest is called "Be Encouraged," and that's something a gift I give to my guests. You before I do the episodes, I try to I ask and I was like, is there anything that I feel like my guests should just know in this moment for themselves? Is like, and I kind of just pray and I meditate on it. And the one thing I did get something for you. So I guess got one line. It's one line. It says, "If you go back into the box, you will suffocate."
Oh, that's
So
mad deep.
yeah, so that I got that because it's like, if I don't know if you were trying to make decisions or certain little things, but it's kind of like, I know that you it's easy to just go back into that what you know, and that just go back into that box and then being able to easily just escape. But if you go back there, you're going to suffocate, because you're going to suffocate what's really in you. So
Hmm.
just stay out, color outside the line, stay over here, because that's where you thrive at. So that is my gift to you, to just whatever that message means for you, and I hope you could take that and apply it in whatever way is for you. So
No, that really connects. Thank you so much, Simone. I appreciate you.
you're welcome. And I am very happy that you were able to talk to me today and we were able to have this conversation. I hope that somebody listen to this conversation today, that they will be able to just get some the nuggets that you dropped and just learn something and be able to push them forward, and also learn not to live life with regrets either, because we
Word.
are just, on this journey, and we're all trying to figure it out, because most of us don't know what we're doing anyway, but it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's the real truth. It's
It's
the real truth.
okay. So thank you all for listening today, and like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And well, I'll be back next week for another episode, and I'm just excited to just continue with season 2. So thank you all for listening. Bye.